Hello guys, welcome to my channel, and in this video we are going to review how to find the midpoint between two numbers. Okay, given two numbers and you're trying to find the midpoint. Okay, a point that's halfway between those two given points. So we're going to look at how and why this formula looks like this. So suppose you have a point A with coordinates x, comma y, and you also have a point B with coordinates x, comma y as well. Because these 2 points are different, so we would use subscripts to differentiate their coordinates. So we would call the point A x subscript 1 and comma y subscript 1. But for short, we just say x1, y1. Okay, I hope you understand when I say that. So for point B here, because we expect point B to be different than point A, so we're not going to use the same subscript. So we will just say x subscript 2, comma y subscript 2, just differentiate their coordinates. So this is the reason why we come up with a formula like this one to find the midpoint. So midpoint is a way of finding the average. Okay, you have 2 points and or two numbers. You find the average between these two numbers by adding those numbers up and dividing by 2. So this is exactly what we bringing into this formula here. All right, by adding the x coordinates of A and B, of point A and B, we get the first coordinate, and then we also add the y coordinates of points A and B to get the second y coordinate. All right, so we are going to go ahead and find the midpoints here for A and B and D and E and A and E. All right, so let's go. So find the coordinates of the point M, which is halfway between the two given points. All right, so for A and D, we're just going to start by writing their coordinates. So the coordinates of A will be right here, which is -4, comma 2. All right, so that's going to be -4, comma 2. All right, we go to point D here. So point D here is +2, comma 2 as well. All right, let's go +2, comma 2, 2, comma 2. All right, so we have all these results. So what we will do next is go ahead and just label these coordinates as x subscript 1 and y subscript 1, x subscript 2 and y subscript 2. And then we are now going to apply the midpoint formula right here to solve the problem. So the midpoint formula here is x subscript 1 plus x subscript 2 divided by 2, comma y subscript 1 plus y subscript 2 divided by 2. So what we can do here is I'm now going to take my erasers and just carefully remove this coordinates and replace them with their numbers, with their respective numbers. So I'm going to take off x1 and replace that, or x subscript 1, and replace that by -4. That goes in. And then when I get to x2, I'm going to skip over, and x2 is 2. So I am going to use my eraser, remove the x2, and replace that with the +2 right there. So 2 goes in there. So again, I'm going to take my erasers and remove the y subscript 1, which happens to be 2. So I'm going to replace that with number 2. And then for y2, I will do the same. Now that y2 is +2. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. +2. So then you have to make sure you double check to see if there are any things to fix. Okay, so I have x1 plus x2, which is -4 plus 2, and -4 plus 2 is -2, and then I'll divide that by 2, comma, and 2 plus 2, it's 4, and I'll divide that by 2 as well. So to finish this problem here, -2 divided by 2 is -1. Let me take my eraser and remove that and do my -1 properly. -1, comma. All right, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So that means the midpoint, or the point that is halfway between A and D, is going to be -1 comma 2. So of course, if you go and if you go ahead and plot this point -1 comma 2, you would see it exactly makes sense. -1 comma 2 is -1 right here, to 2 is right here. You can see AD is from here to here. And then if you trace the line, tracing this line here, you would see that that works. All right, so this is good. So the midpoint of AD is has the coordinates -1 comma 2. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one. For DE here, we are going to write the coordinates for D and also write the coordinates for E. So let's go ahead and write the coordinates for D. For D here, we know that coordinates for D is 2, 2, which we already found from problem 1 right here. And then for E, we are going to find the coordinates for point E. For point E, look where E is. So if we trace going up, we'll find the Y coordinate, the X coordinate, sorry, which is 4. And if we trace to the left, we'll find -4. The Y coordinates. So now let's go. So we are now going to label the X subscript 1, Y subscript 1, X subscript 2, Y subscript 2. So the common misconception here is students would do X subscript 1, comma X subscript 2. You want to be very careful because we're looking at an ordered pair. It is always X, comma Y each time. All right, so bearing that in mind, so we are going to go ahead and do the formula. So the formula begins with x1 plus x2. We know that x1 is 2 and x2 is 4. So this is x1 and this is x2. So we're going to add these two numbers together. That means 2 plus 4. And we're going to divide it by 2. And next, we're going to add y1 and y2. That means y subscript 1 and y subscript 2, which is going to be 2 plus, and that's going to be -4. So it's -4 and over 2. So from there, we are going to simplify this result, which is going to be 2 plus 4, and that's 6 divided by 2, and that's for this. And for this one here, we're going to get 2 plus -4. That's exactly -2 divided by 2. So that finally our result will be 3, which 6 divided by 2 is 3, and -2 divided by 2 is -1. Good. And then again, we can see from the picture when we trace D and E. So if we trace D and E, coming down from D straight to E, if we trace it nicely, we'll see that the midpoint here appears to be here. And if we read the coordinate, that's exactly going to be 3, -1 right there, which is again very good, very good. All right, I need you to pause the video right now and see if you can do the third problem yourself. And then when you finish, come back to this video and you compare your results to what I'm going to get. All right, welcome back. I hope it was fun. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to write the coordinates for point A, and we found out the coordinate for point A is -4, 2. We already did that before, and then it's -4, 2. So right here, so that's -4, 2. And for E, we already found out that for E, we had 4, -4. All right, so we are going to plug into the formula and see what we are getting. So again, following the formula, which is x subscript 1 plus x subscript 2. So this is x subscript 1, y subscript 1, x subscript 2, and y subscript 2. All right, so let's go. So now adding these numbers together, it will be -4 plus 4. So -4 plus 4, and then we're going to divide by 0, looking at the average of these two coordinates. So 2, we're going for the first, and then we're going to add -4. That's going to be y subscript 1 plus y subscript 2. All right, and altogether, we're going to simplify to see what we have. -4 plus 4 is clearly 0. Okay, and then we're going to divide by 2. And 2 plus -4 is exactly -2, and we divide it by 2. And our final results will be 0, comma, -1. Cool. I like this. All right, which means that the midpoint of AE, of line AE, okay, or the line segment AE will be 0, comma, -1. And 0, comma, -1 is right here. Right here. Okay. So this is A right here. See? So Tracy, that appears to be the midpoint. So this is good. All right. So I hope we have been able to review and address some little misconceptions that we may have about finding midpoints and using the midpoint formula and the coordinate plane. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you watch the videos I have posted before this one. There's a playlist that you can follow, and there are numbers to guide you. Guess this is going to be part 19. So make sure you take a look at these videos and share, like, subscribe, and so that you can have access to more videos. Thank you very much. Bye for now.